Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and to a very exciting Hermes unboxing. As you can see, I'm throwing in a little bit of vlog footage from an earlier trip to Hermes. This is not from the day that I got this bag because, as you'll hear a little later, I didn't know that I was getting this bag, so I didn't film anything except a few shots that you'll see of when I actually got the bag. This footage is from a random day in October when I wasn't even planning to go to Hermes. I was on my way to Goya to once again try on the Artois. I was considering getting that bag as my one bag of 2025, especially since there were only a couple months left to the year, and I still wasn't getting any hints from my Hermes essay that I'd be getting the one and only bag that I requested this year. I decided against the Artois, but that's a story for another day. But I couldn't resist. I decided to pop into Hermes. This was my essay's day off. I've done that a few times, and I really enjoy doing that because I get to wander and look at random things uninterrupted. So I thought I'd show you some of the things that I really liked in store that day, as well as a few bags, shoes, accessories that I've seen throughout the year and really liked. I know that I told you that my last video of this year would be my conspiracy theories video, but surprise, change of plans, because I got this unexpected bag offer and I didn't even ask you which video you'd prefer to see because it doesn't even matter. I am so excited to unbox this bag after waiting for it for so long. Since I paused editing that conspiracy theories video to quickly film, edit, and get this video up before the end of the year, unfortunately that video will have to wait until early next year. This is my one and only handbag purchase of 2025 from Hermes or any brand. The last time I bought a handbag was in summer 2024, so it's been almost a year and a half since I bought a bag. So this is a long time coming, and the reason for that is that I've turned down other bags, quota and non-quota, in order to get this bag. So let's talk about how I was offered the bag that I've been waiting for almost a year and a half. Since I mentioned that when I went into the boutique that day, I had no idea I was going to walk out with a bag. I texted my essay the day before and asked for the twilly and scarf that I mentioned in part 2 of my Hermes unboxings this year, which I saw in Hawaii, but didn't buy because I planned to get from my essay. And since I no longer saw them online, I knew they must be fairly popular, and I didn't want to wait until next year and risk the chance of them selling out. Not to mention, if they did come back in stock, they'd likely be more expensive. So I sent my essay the reference numbers for both of these items and asked if she had them in stock, to which she replied, "Can you come in tomorrow?" And I said, absolutely. I was pleasantly surprised that she had them because smaller popular items like these tend to get sold out during the holiday gifting season. I responded instantaneously. We made an appointment time and I went to the store with bells on the next day to pick up the scarf and the twilly. When I got there, she asked me to meet her on the 4th floor, which is the floor with bags. So you might be thinking, how'd you not know that you were going to get a bag if she's asking you to meet her on that floor? Well, that's not unusual, especially when my essay is busy. If I'm just coming in to pick up something small, she'll usually just see me on whatever floor she finished with the previous client. So if someone before me just got offered a bag, we'll meet on the 4th floor, especially because she knows that for smaller things like this, I don't really make a meal of it. I just pay and keep it moving. I've done a shoe exchange on that floor when I got a scarf and a belt earlier in the year. I also paid for it on the 4th floor. So all that to say, it's not unusual that we meet on the 4th floor for non-bag related business. However, when I got to the 4th floor, she's holding the box that you're currently seeing, which is not a twilly box, but it's also not a bag box. So initially, I didn't think that was for me. I thought perhaps that was something for someone else. But then I vaguely recalled other people's unboxing videos when their boutiques ran out of twilly boxes. Their twillies were presented in boxes like these. I really like the cute twilly boxes, but it's not the end of the world. So we go back to a desk area, which is next to a private room, but we did not go into the private room, of course, because clearly she's not carrying a bag. When I took off my coat to sit down, my essay looked at my outfit, smirked, and then laughed a little and said, "I really like your outfit." I said thank you, but the way she said it, it felt like a strange compliment because it was a cute outfit, but nothing giggle worthy. It was a little odd, and you'll find out why that was later. She asked me if I want champagne, and I said, sure, why not? You don't have to ask me twice. She opens the box, and it is not a Twilly. It is an Etude Pegasse, which I have been hunting down for most of this year. I've asked her several times for this, and it's not that they never have them. They always have rodeos. I've just found it very difficult to get the plain Etude combination. She said that when they've come into store, they get snatched up right away before she even has a chance to grab one and put my name on it. They also have popped up online, and every single time, by the time I try to check out, it is gone. It was just a little frustrating trying to get an item that's not rare. It's on the website of seemingly every other country, so there was no way that I was going to buy it secondhand for the same price as they are in store. But I got lucky, she said, because a shipment came in earlier in the day and she quickly set one aside for me. I was so happy about my Pegasse that I forgot all about the Twilly and the scarf that I was actually there to buy until someone stepped out of the private room and my sales associate said, let's go into the room and catch up. I'll go run and grab your other thing. And that's when it dawned on me that I wasn't here for a Pegasse and she hadn't yet given me the other items that I was actually here to buy. So we go to the room. My SA takes the Pegasse. I sit down with my champagne waiting for her to come back. I am finding it strange that I'm in a private room because it is a very busy time of the year for the store and these private rooms are constantly occupied, but I figured we'll probably talk for 10 minutes and I'll be on my way. So my SA comes back a couple of minutes later, and again, she's not carrying a Twilly box or a scarf box. She now has this box. And I immediately know what this is just by the shape of the box. And I say, no way. And she is laughing at me because she got me so good. The only other time that she's pulled a stunt like this was when she and the manager colluded to present my special order to me. Maybe I'll tell you that story one day. That's also a good one. But she totally got me. I always get a kick out of these tiny little pillows. When she opened up the box and pulled out the bag, I was so happy because if you're at all familiar with my channel, you know that my favorite Hermes non-black neutral color is Etude. And as you can see, this is a Kelly Pochette in swift leather in the color Gris Etude with that beautiful contrast stitching and palladium hardware. I realized why she was laughing and complimented my outfit because I was wearing an Etude shirt tucked into an Etude Kelly belt with an Etude cardigan carrying an Etude Birkin. And so I said, that's why you were laughing. And she laughed some more and said, yeah, you really love Etude. She also said that when she saw my outfit, it was confirmation to her that she was able to get this bag in the perfect color combination for me. And so here it is, the bag that I have been waiting for over a year, the one that she has shut me down when I asked for it all year. I don't think that there's ever been a bag that I have asked and or reminded my SA about more than this bag. And I've talked about it ad nauseum. I pursued this bag and it was hard to come by. Normally I ask my SA for a bag. She puts it on my wish list. I don't ask her again until she makes the offer. For this bag, I asked her at the end of last year, at the beginning of the year, at the start of summer, and around September. And each time I was met with either a blank stare or no response. My SA was upfront about why this bag was so hard for her to secure for me. I won't divulge that information, but suffice to say, this was not an easy bag to get, and especially in a color that I wanted. Let's talk about the Kelly Pochette. The price, the availability, the color. So I was first offered this bag in 2021 or 2022 in the color Blue France, and I immediately rejected it, which I talked about in part 1 of all the bags that I rejected from Hermes video. And I know I keep promising part 2, but I'm saving that video for next year for a good reason, and I'll tell you why eventually in that video. In any case, I wasn't crazy about the color Blue France, and I really didn't get this bag back then. I thought it was too small, and I really wasn't into clutch type bags. To be fair, I'm still not a clutch person. I didn't regret turning down the initial offer, but I didn't realize how hard this bag would be to get now. So the Kelly Pochette has been on my wish list for a couple of years. It was the second or third choice on my wish list last year after the Kelly 25, but as I explained to you, this was the only option on my wish list this year. I didn't request any quota bags, although it is really debatable that this is not a quota bag since it was much harder to get this bag than any quota bag that I've put on my wish list in years prior. But technically speaking, it is not a quota bag, even though this was the only item on my wish list and I did not request any quota bags. My essay tempted me with quota and non-quota offers, but I really stuck to my guns. My essay would probably say annoyingly so, because after each offer that I rejected, my response was consistently the same: that's great, but I think I'll hold out and wait for the Kelly Pochette. What I learned from getting my Kelly 25 last year is that had I not accepted a Birkin 25 in 2023, I probably could have gotten the Kelly 25 earlier in the year last year. In my defense, my consolation prize was a black Birkin 25, so I think I can be forgiven for not staying resolute. This year, I'm still in that mindset that I was last year at this time, in that I'm not feeling the urge to get any more Birkins or Kellys, and that really has not changed in a year. So I'm not saying that it won't change next year, but so far I'm just really content with my collection of Birkins and Kellys, and I don't feel the need to add anything else. But we'll save that discussion for a later date. Let's discuss price and availability together because I think those two are linked. I would argue that the Kelly Pochette is one of the hardest regular offer bags to get, meaning that it's not in a push leather or a rare blue box offering. It's a standard bag, and it's not even a quota bag. In fact, my essay said she would have had an easier time getting a mini Kelly for me. And I think that's because the mini Kelly is produced more, so boutiques just get more of those in. But also, I think the popularity of the Kelly Pochette has soared in the last 2 years. I'm sure influencers played a big part in this because many people didn't even know that this bag existed prior to a couple of years ago, even though it's been around for at least 20 years. But once the cat was out of the bag, sales associates became flooded with requests for this bag. Many people now use their special orders for Kelly Pochettes. I also think part of the popularity is the price. Back when I was first offered it a few years ago, it was $58.50. It's now $76.50 in Swift leather, which is a huge jump. And of course, it's a very expensive bag, but it's about $3,000 US less than a mini Kelly in a standard leather like Epsom or Chev. It's at least a couple thousand less than the Kelly Elan. It's even less than a mini Lindy. And I do think that contributes to its appeal. And people would like to get this bag before it crosses the 10K US benchmark, which clearly Hermes is pushing it towards. My hot take is that we'll see increased production and availability as the price gets closer and closer to 10,000 USD, which I'm guessing they think is a much more suitable price for a bag, especially a coveted bag in the Kelly family. I just don't think they're going to keep this bag priced similarly to their wallet on chains. And finally, let's talk about color. I always keep it 100, and that's one of the reasons why I'm very specific in wish list videos and updates, because I like to put my intentions out there so that if at the beginning of the year I told you I wanted a gray Kelly Pochette, and at the end of the year I'm sitting here with an orange picotin trying to convince you that it's my dream bag, we'll both know that I'm full of it. So initially, because my essay was not forthcoming about my odds of getting this bag, and just knowing how hard the bag was to get in general, I did something that I would normally never do and basically said that this is the one bag that I would take in pretty much any color, hoping that would increase the odds of me getting this bag. However, when 2 months turned into 4 and 4 months turned into 8 and I still hadn't gotten the bag, I had a lot of time to reconsider that strategy and decided I would not be happy with just any color. And I know that I've said multiple times that this is the only Hermes bag that I want as a collector's item, but that still doesn't mean that I never plan to use it. And so if I'm waiting all this time, why not ask for what my dream combination would be. So a few months ago, I sent my sales associate a text. Actually, I'll show you the text that I sent her with my preferences, and told her that while I would accept many colors, I did have very strong preferences. So as you can see, my top choice was gray with palladium hardware, and if I had my pick of grays, it would be Greenmeyer. However, I also thought this would be a good opportunity to get one of those colors that I told you I loved and would want, but I'm just not interested in any more quota bags. So it would be great to get it in a non-quota bag option. And of course, those colors are Rouge Ash, the new blue jean, and one of the dark green colors similar to malachite. I had Etoupe as one of my options because, as I said, it is my favorite non-black neutral, but also because I have multiples of the other Hermes classic neutrals. I have 2 gold bags, 2 Eton bags, multiple black bags. That should be forgiven because black is my favorite color in life, but only 1 Etoupe bag, my Bergen. So this was an opportunity to get another. And realistically, I'm not even sure Hermes is producing Kelly Pochettes this year in the colors that I mentioned before. I'm also happy that this bag is in palladium hardware because you guys know that I do have a slight preference for palladium, but it really does depend on the bag. My Etoupe Bergen has gold hardware, and I've always kind of wished that bag had palladium hardware because I think that Etoupe goes particularly well with palladium. So I was extremely pleased that this Kelly Pochette has palladium hardware. A, because it gives me the combination that I wished for in my Birkin, and I can really appreciate that my Etoupe Birkin has gold hardware because now I have a bag in both combinations, but also because a gray Kelly Pochette was my first choice, and even though Etoupe is technically a gray, this is one where the hardware plays a huge part in picking up and drawing out the undertones. So I'm not sure you'll be able to tell, but the gold hardware really draws out the beigey brown in Etoupe, and the palladium really picks up on the gray. So the combination of the Swift leather and the palladium hardware makes my Etoupe Kelly Pochette appear a lot more gray than my Etoupe Birkin. And here are my 2 Etoupe bags. Tell me, do you prefer the color Etoupe more with gold hardware or palladium hardware? As far as the colors that I didn't want, I really did not want another black Hermes bag because I have 4. And also, if I'm using the Kelly Pochette for dressier occasions, I have small black Chanel bags that I use. I did not want gold because for me, Hermes gold is a very casual color, and I wanted the option to use this bag for dressier occasions. And I already have my ideal Hermes white bag, so that was also a no. The other colors that I told my essay that I would strongly prefer not to have are just not colors that I'm drawn to. I'm not a pastels person, with the exception of light pink, and I already have my favorite Hermes light pink. And then there are other colors that I just would never use, like purple or orange. But as with all the colors on my no list, the reality is because the Kelly Pochette is so hard to get, I would have had a hard time turning it down even in the colors on my no list. But that's neither here nor there because my essay was able to get me this bag in one of my preferred colors. So you might be wondering, whatever happened to the Twilly and the scarf that you went into store to get? Well, turns out my essay never had them. And so I asked her, did my request for those items remind you to try to get the bag for me? And she said no. It was a huge coincidence that she was planning to text me later in the day to come in for the bag, but I just so happened to request the Twilly and the scarf earlier in the day, and she decided to just let me think that that's why I was coming into store that day, and took the opportunity to surprise me. And they just happened to get a shipment that included the Etoupe Pegasus the same day that I came in, which she was able to use to fool me even further. The leather on this bag is super soft and beautiful, smells amazing. This will fit so much more than my mini Kelly. So tell me what you think of this bag. I am elated. I do know that I have zero plans to ask for another one because this one was hard enough to get. And in terms of combos, I think this is the perfect one for me. Similar to my mini Kelly, which I've had for a couple of years now, because I was so selective with the color combination, I don't feel like I need another. I almost forgot about this because I ordered this organizer a while back along with the liner / organizer for my toiletry 26. Since I was manifesting this bag hard, I purposefully did not get a white or a black organizer because I did not want a Kelly Pochette in either of those colors, but I figured this brown color would match a lot of different colors, but I could not have predicted how well it would complement a tube, which is funny because I had no idea I would be getting this bag in a tube. I hope you can see how good this organizer looks inside the bag. And per usual, I requested it with 0 pockets. This is the 1.2 mm silky finish, but I'll put the exact color and specifications in my description box. And as always, you can use my code for 20% off. I'm so happy with this, especially because even in small bags, Swift can get slouchy and prone to staining. There are some bags that I'm willing to risk it without an organizer, but this bag is not one of them. And here it is with my Birkin in a tube Togo, and it looks equally as good. So I'm not sure the manifestation had anything to do with me getting my bag, but regardless, I'm really happy that I have a organizer for this bag. I know I've been going on and on about this bag all year. I'm so happy that my essay came through. Per usual with Hermes, patience is rewarded, so is spending. Of course, I could have thrown money at the problem in order to get this bag sooner, but you guys know how I feel about that. I would just rather hold out, wait my turn, and eventually get exactly what I asked for. If you're curious to know what I bought between my last quota bag and this bag, I have 3 Hermes unboxing videos for the year, and that's everything. I even showed you what I bought online, what I bought in Hawaii. Now, speaking of spending, one of the byproducts of me talking about this bag so much and making my intentions so known is that for the most part, people were trying to be encouraging and sent me links to people who have gotten the bag recently, but without fail, every time someone sent me one of those links, the person who had gotten the offer was either a pretty big influencer, or I can tell from their feed that they have very expensive fine jewelry, pricey ready to wear, a watch or two thrown in the mix. So clearly they spend a lot of money with the brand. So while I do believe the intent was to be encouraging, it just wasn't applicable to my situation because I'm not suddenly going to become a famous European influencer, nor am I going to start buying pave bracelets and necklaces. Although I'm a very loyal customer to the brand, my spending is relatively modest. So tell me what you think of my new bag. I really love it. Since this will be my last video of the year, I wish you a happy Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa if you celebrate, and if you don't, I hope this is a relaxing time of the year for you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel. That will make my day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.